Trade routes in Civilization 6 were unlocked extremely early, being available 2 civics into the game. This civic grants 1 trade route capacity, allowing you to build 1 trader, allowing you to establish 1 route to a city of your choosing. This means increasing your trade route capacity is a great idea, as it allows you to make more traders to establish more routes. To get more trade route capacity, you can build commercial hubs and harbors. Both of these districts are unlocked in the classical era, and building one increases your trade route capacity by 1, which is why I recommend building a commercial hub or harbor in as many cities as possible, no matter your victory type. They do not stack, however, so if you build a commercial hub and harbor in the same city, you only get 1 more trade route, not 2. So if a city is on the coast, build a harbor, and if the city is inland, build a commercial hub. Very simple. This is primarily because harbors increase the yields of coastal tiles, whether it's the lighthouse adding food, shipyard adding production, or a seaport adding gold. Also note that in Rise and Fall or Gathering Storm rules, you'll have to build the tier 1 buildings, the market or lighthouse, to actually get the trade route, unlike standard rules where you only have to build the 1 district. When sending out your traders, you can click here in the top right to have an overview of all the trade routes. The first tab in this menu will show you your active routes that you have sent out. The second tab shows trade routes that other civilizations and city-states have sent to you, listing their benefits and your benefits if there are any. And lastly, the third tab shows all your available routes with the potential yields and the time they will take. If you play off of Steam, I recommend getting the Better Trade UI mod, as it allows you to sort through listed routes on these tabs by yields and the turns they have left or the amount of turns they will take. The link to this mod and my general list of UI mods will be in the description. The yields of a trade route accumulate every turn, so if a trader gives +3 gold, you get +3 gold every turn the route is active. The number in the top right that shows how long the route is active can be misleading, however. The length of a route is dependent on game speed, but for this example I will be using standard speed numbers. A trade route will not end until the trader makes it back to the origin city, and only if the route has lasted for at least 21 turns. So if a trader goes to the destination city and back, but only took 18 turns, 9 there and 9 back, the trader will do another round until the route has returned to the origin city again, taking at least 21 turns, making the route take 36 turns total in this example. So what the number at the top right really translates to is how long it takes the trader to go from city A to city B, which is also just the number of tiles between both cities, as the trader only moves 1 tile per turn, regardless of any roads or terrain in place. If you double this number, you get how long it takes to do a round trip. This means you'll have to do some math to know how long the route will take without the UI mod, and it doesn't help that the minimum number for a route to complete actually increases between eras. 21 turns is the minimum in the ancient and classical era. In a medieval and Renaissance era, a route has to last at least 31 turns. The industrial, modern, and atomic era routes have to last 41 turns, and lastly, the information and future era routes have to last 51 turns minimum. So by the late game, once you send a trade route out, you'll most likely not be seeing it again for the rest of the game. So choose your routes wisely. This also means if you have a quest with a city-state to send a trade route, I recommend figuring out which of your cities offers the shortest route, as city-states do not usually offer the best yields, and you would rather have the trader back soon to get better yields with a trade route to another civ, or using it to get an envoy with another city-state with the same quest, regardless of what era the game is in. Trader units create roads as they travel across the map, unlike Civ 5 where it's the builder's job.
Well, maybe I can do roads then. I tend to perform best when the work is repetitive, but the functionality is open to creative interpretation.
We don't do roads anymore. They got outsourced to merchants, which I guess makes sense, but it just feels wrong.
You can use this knowledge to get internal roads with domestic routes for moving your builders and other civilian units around, or you can use it to establish external roads between other civs to march in units to take their cities faster. When a trader unit completes a round trip, a trading post is created in both the origin and destination city. This is important because a trader can only go to cities up to 15 tiles away on land and 30 for sea. This is why 2 cities that are far apart cannot trade with each other. However, if there is a city along the way that you have established a trading post in, it refreshes the range of the route. So getting your traders up early to establish these posts throughout the land, whether in your cities or someone else's, will allow you to get longer routes that produce more gold later on. These trading posts also provide some bonus gold and diplomatic visibility, but we will get into that later. Now that the basics of trade route links and movement are established, we can actually talk about the yields, which are based on the districts in the destination city. This differs between both domestic and international trade routes. Domestic routes primarily give food and production, so if you settle a city in tundra or desert, where yields are scarily low, you can get a trader in them and set it to another one of your cities to get it off the ground. Most districts either add +1 food or +1 production to the route. Commercial hubs, harbors, encampments, and industrial zones add +1 production, while holy sites, campuses, theater squares, entertainment complexes, and water parks provide +1 food to the route. The city center provides +1 food and +1 production to the route, making it the base yield for a domestic route early game before you have any other districts. The government plaza and diplomatic quarter also add +1 food and +1 production to domestic domestic trade routes. So if you build both of these districts in the same city, it will make the route give +3 food and +3 production to the origin city. Stacking these districts together is the key to making great domestic routes. You can also add the Governor Magnus to the city with the surplus logistics promotion, which adds +2 food to the route as well. Where domestic routes provide food and production, foreign routes provide every other kind of yield, being science, gold, faith, and culture. This once again depends on the districts at the destination. For example, a campus provides +1 science, theater squares +1 culture, and holy sites +1 faith, reflecting the typical yields of said districts. City centers, harbors, and commercial hubs provide +3 gold to a route, meaning if you stack them in a city, it would make an amazing destination city for anyone looking to get some gold, but once again, you don't get the double trade routes, so I would not recommend this. Government Plaza and Diplo Quarter stacking does not work here either, as the Government Plaza only gives +2 gold and the Diplo Quarter gives +1 culture to the route, but remember that stacking these is for your benefit, not the benefit of other civs making foreign routes to you. Lastly, the Industrial Zone, Encampment, and Entertainment Complex and Water Park actually provide a little bit of food and production to a foreign route, but since these districts tend to be and should be built less frequently, it rarely comes up. Now those are the base yields, but they can be enhanced. As I mentioned before, when your trader completes a round trip, a trading post is established in both the origin and destination city. Now when your trader passes through these posts, not only are they getting longer range, but every established post in a foreign city they pass through adds +1 gold to the route. This is why early game, when you finish your first route, you'll notice that some of the new routes may produce 4 gold instead of 3, as they now pass through one of the trading posts you've created in foreign lands. Water and infrastructure will provide extra gold as well, but not a flat gold amount. You see, they provide efficiency points. In the game itself, when you look at the description of a canal or railroad, it will often say that it multiplies the gold traders get from districts at the destination. That's basically what efficiency points are. A trade route gets 2 efficiency points for every coastal tile, lake tile, ocean tile, railroad tile, and canal tile that it passes through, and then mountain tunnels get 15 efficiency points. The bonus you get from all these efficiency points is equal to the ratio of efficiency points to the distance traveled by the trader in the initial one-way trip. For example, if a route has 8 efficiency points by going over 4 railroads, but the route itself is 16 tiles in the one-way trip, then the trader gets a 50% bonus to the base gold yields of the route, ratio of 8 to 16, making it 50%. So if this route gives 6 gold as the base yield, for example, these railroads would increase it to 9. The bonus from efficiency points is capped out at 100%, and only affects gold and no other yields. This is why foreign trade routes going over water early game will often give a lot more gold than your other routes due to all the efficiency points. You can also enhance your routes with more trader capacity and better yields with several great merchants and admirals. I won't go over all of them, but they can provide bonuses such as gold based on strategic resources at the destination, faith from city-state routes, more tourism buffs against civs you're trading with, and even bonus gold from plundering another civ's trade routes out in the open sea. Speaking of plundering, that is a very real thing to watch out for. Make sure your trade routes are either in safe lands or guarded to prevent barbarians and enemy civs from plundering them. If you also see an unguarded trader in the wild, it might be a good idea to declare a surprise war to plunder it for a bunch of gold like you would an unguarded settler, but more petty. Remember, Kaiser's Legion was the right option in Fallout New Vegas solely because he did a better job at protecting the roads. While yields from trade routes are great and all, an often overlooked element is their diplomatic implications. When you set a route to an AI, they'll often be slightly more favorable of you, same is true if they send one to you. Trading with another AI and establishing trading posts in their cities will increase your diplomatic visibility with them, informing you of what they're doing and providing a slight combat boost against them, as trading posts are permanent, unless you capture the city it is in. When declaring war on another civ, any trade routes between your two empires are immediately cancelled, and all of your traders are sent back to their origin cities. So if your empire is economically reliant on another empire, maybe don't kill them? Sending a single trader out to another civ increases your tourism output against them by 25%. So if you're going for a culture win, try to send one trader to every civ on the map. This bonus does not stack, so having multiple trade routes sent to another empire will not increase it beyond the initial 25%. Same works in reverse, so do keep in mind they could cancel you out by sending a single trader in return. Trade routes also give religious pressure, giving 0.5 pressure per turn from the origin city's dominant religion to the destination city and vice versa. This works for domestic and international routes, so a lot of domestic routes could help preserve your religion, and a bunch of foreign routes could help to convert someone and keep them converted. But remember, the same works in reverse, even if the route is going the same way. Now, trade routes aren't always for kneecapping your adversaries, as alliances can make them better. Research, cultural, religious, and economic alliances add extra science, culture, faith, and gold to your routes sent to a civ you're allied with, depending on what type you pick. Just know that the routes will also give them a bit of whatever yield you pick as well. So if a civ is doing great in science, do not send them a bunch of routes with a research alliance. You will only make them even stronger. Sending a trade route to an ally also gives plus 0.25 alliance points per turn. Same if they send one to you, meaning if the two of you made trade routes together, you'll be able to hit those higher alliance levels sooner for greater bonuses between your two to empires. Alliance routes are great in general, as the democracy government type adds a bunch of food and production to your routes with allies and city-states that you are a suzerain of. However, if you lack allies and stand alone against the world, the communist government type makes your domestic routes better with extra food and production instead of the foreign ones. On the topic of governments, there's several policies that affect trade routes. They are pretty straightforward and generally add extra yields to the trade routes, but if you want to avoid doing the math, I recommend the Extended Policies UI mod, also linked in the description. Alongside policies, there are also governors that affect trade routes as well. Like I mentioned before, Magnus can make your domestic routes better with extra food, but Reina can make your foreign routes better, not the ones you're sending to other civs, but the ones other civs are sending to you. So if you figure out which of your cities all the other civs are sending their trade routes to, you can put Reina in that city and get a bunch of gold off of their trade routes to you. In the governor title, you'll also have access to the Isles of Minerva secret society, which is the only way you will ever be able to get trade routes from both the commercial hub and harbor in the same city. Isles of Minerva also not only gives you double trade routes, but also gives you an envoy every time you send a trade route to a city-state. There are also many wonders that affect trade routes, such as the Panama Canal allowing traders and naval units to cut through land, Torre de Belém giving you gold based on luxuries at the destination, and the Great Zimbabwe giving you more gold based on bonus resources in the origin city. And then there's the fact that most civs in the game have some bonus to trade routes, whether it's triple foreign yields, extra religious pressure, or more food from domestic routes. There's a lot I can go over, so play around with all of them, using the base knowledge I've gone over. Trade routes may seem inconsequential at first, but the state of your trade routes could honestly make or break your empire, as they are basically your entire economy. They'll always be the main source of gold in your empire. Gold you need to maintain your buildings, to buy tiles, to upgrade your troops, so always remember to build a commercial hub or harbor in all of your cities, and find someone worthwhile to trade with. After all, every nation lives by exchanging. While you're still here, I have a Discord set up now, so go check that out. I'm usually pretty active there and would love to play a game with some of you guys. I also have a Patreon now, as these videos take a lot of time and effort to make, so consider donating. I'm Ridic, and I'll see you in the next era.